Hi, I'm doing day 196 and 197, the reaction dimension of the taking things personally personality. The first blog was done. I've been doing a series now of 2 blogs per video because I'm writing the points out in the first blog, and then the next blog I do the self-forgiveness and commitment statements based on points that came up within the writing in the first blog. So this blog was about the reaction dimension, this event that occurred that I've been writing about for a series of blogs now, and it's within the taking things personally personality. And within the reaction dimension, what occurred was the kind of chain reaction within this event. When she called me out, I accepted the thoughts of, blaming her, she's wrong, and I accepted fear within being confronted, and thus I went into this point of inferiority and competition, and then within being kind of confronted within kind of a conflictual type situation, I went into competition and then reacted within this point of competition in anger. I realized within writing the self-forgiveness that it was based on when I was confronted, the reaction within me at first was embarrassment. And I linked that back to when I was in school, being picked on or being called out within kids in school and kind of being outcasted in that moment. And so within that, being kind of alone in that moment and being outcasted, I got embarrassed, and then I linked that point of being outcasted and being confronted, or being confronted because these kids would confront me in this way and kind of get in my face, and it was a conflictual situation, and then they called me out, and then I got embarrassed based on this. And so whenever I go into a conflict situation, this memory comes up of being outcasted, being confronted in school, and being embarrassed based on them kind of putting me in the spotlight. And so I realized that this reaction was based on this point of embarrassment. And so when I felt that embarrassment, I realized it was a point of, I've linked embarrassment to being weak. So it's kind of like an instant point of, alright, she's confronting me, I got embarrassed, and then within that reaction of embarrassment, I immediately went into anger and competition because I was seeing myself like she was trying to make me weak. And so it was all quickly, this reaction was kind of in an instant, and I really had to look back and write about it to realize what I was actually doing and what I was reacting to. And it was from my past. It was from memories of my past of, being confronted and being in conflicts with other people and, getting that feeling of embarrassment, which I realize that makes me feel weak when I feel that point. And so within that feeling, I go into the reaction of competition and anger towards this person and blame, and then try to attack her and make her feel bad and make her be the one that's wrong and weak. So just creating more conflict within this whole situation based on perceiving what she's doing to me as a point of making me weak. But it's really just how I see myself. I just see myself as weak, and I have this kind of reaction when I feel this embarrassment emotion. I go into this reaction, so it's all my own creation. It's what I'm creating within myself, and it's got nothing to do with her. She just kind of brought this whole point out for me to see what I'm doing. So obviously the blame is unacceptable, and I'm going to write about the physical dimension tonight and what I actually did physically to kind of live out this point of reaction and competition towards her. So really within these realizations, stopping the point, first letting go of the attachments to these feelings and emotions that come up, because really feelings and emotions aren't real. They're not based on anything real. They're based on our mind thoughts, and it's based on energy. You can feel the energy within you. When you go into anger, and anger bursts, it comes quickly and then it goes. And so it's not lasting, thus. Well, it's something that you'll have to research within the mind, within Desteni, because it's something you'll have to understand yourself and why feelings and emotions aren't real. I can tell you that they're not real. I mean, I can say that energy is the mind, and it's generated through the mind, and the mind is actually not necessary for us to exist within the way it exists within us. And we can actually direct ourselves and not be controlled by our thoughts and emotions and feelings. But it's a process of understanding, and I'd recommend you researching this point for yourself and looking into the Desteni Material and what this whole process is about, of this journey to life, what I'm walking here and what many others are walking, to take responsibility for your life and the way you act towards people, how you behave, and the points of these blogs is to have a point within myself where I can come to at the end of the day, or when I've have a point in time to write the point out and correct my behavior so I don't cause conflict, because this whole point was I abused this woman within just all these chain reactions that occurred within a moment, and going into abuse towards this woman because I took what she did to me personally, which wasn't personal. So realizing this point, realizing my responsibility in it, and realizing and understanding what is actually occurring within me and what I'm actually reacting to, which is my own perceptions of who I am. And this is not based on how I live and who I am in reality, but it's based on memories in my mind that I'm holding on to that are not even based on reality. It's not based on actual reality facts, but on what I can remember of the past. So I don't even remember the memories in detail, but I remember me being weak and me being outcasted and me being embarrassed, and this is unacceptable, and this is just based on this desire to be seen as strong and seen as cool and be popular in the group, and having this point of anger within myself because I'm not this point and I wasn't this point back in that time. And so there's a lot of points that go into who we are. And it's to use the writing and the journey in this journal style of writing each day to understand these points within ourselves and change our behavior. So I'm changing and letting go of the reactions to this feeling of embarrassment, not going into the point of blame and feeling weak, but realizing that, okay, this activated, I'm embarrassed, and this isn't who I am. This embarrassment has nothing to do with who I am within my living and myself. And I'm not basing myself anymore on weak and strong and trying to be the best within society, but walking as equals with life, and valuing life equal to myself, and valuing others equal to myself, and not going into abusive points to try to make myself feel better and look better within whatever point I'm trying to satisfy within myself, but really get down to physical living, be here in the physical, and stop my mind from directing me into abusive behaviors, because it's not necessary and it's not how I would want to be treated. So I'll continue on in this process of walking each point day by day, and the next point will be on the physical outflow of this point of being confronted and taking it personally. Alright, thanks for listening.